For those of you who are doing this for the first time, let me start off just by speaking into the basics of this modality in order for you to get the full value of this experience. So the modality itself is called conscious breathwork. It's literally just bringing the conscious awareness to our breath, something that we're typically very unconscious of. You know, we just breathe, without even thinking about it. Many of us have actually forgotten how to breathe properly. We're losing a lot of energy by not breathing properly. If there's a bit of time at the end of the intro, I'll speak into the way we should be breathing during our typical day to harness more energy, to support the nervous system. But I want to speak specifically to the breath work. So it's conscious breath work. We're bringing a very specific breathing rhythm to this modality in order to get the full value of the experience. And this is one of those modalities. It's an incredibly powerful modality because it's serving us at every level of our being simultaneously. And there are not that many modalities, I believe. Well, there are probably quite a few that do it, but many modalities will target either your emotional body or your physical body, maybe your mental body. But this modality really supports every level of your being, because we are breathing high vibration energy, which is in the air all around us. Okay, it's life force energy. It's the energy we can't see. There's no such thing as empty space. The air around us is filled with this high vibration energy, and that's what we are breathing in every day. But when we don't breathe properly, we're missing out on that energy. When we do conscious breath work, we are breathing this energy into our body using a circular breath. Okay, so it's a circular breath. It's a strong, connected breath. If you're doing this for the first time, it's worth mentioning that breath work is not a meditation. It's more of an energy practice. It's energy work. We are using a strong, connected breath to harness the energy and to cleanse our bodies, to cleanse our energies. And by connected breath, I'm referring to the fact that there's no pausing between breaths. No pausing between breaths. The in-breath leads into the out-breath, into the in-breath, into the out-breath, in, out, in, out. It's one constant rhythm, one constant circular breath, and that's where the magic comes from. So when we start the rhythm, when we start the breathing, the first thing that's going to happen, I'm going to demonstrate what this breathing rhythm might sound like. You know, it is quite a strong breath, so it's a beautiful analogy that helps you to really understand the breathing rhythm that we're looking for. If you imagine a bow and arrow, or if you imagine an archer pulling back a bow and an arrow, the in-breath is like the bow being pulled back. So it's a strong in-breath. That's where the force is, creating the tension, pulling the bow back. And the out-breath is just the letting go. Strong in-breath, relaxed out-breath. Without pausing. All right, that's the rhythm we're looking for. And that's pretty much what I want you to remember going into the breath work. And what's going to happen initially is you are going to potentially feel a bit lightheaded. You might feel a little bit lightheaded to the point of discomfort because it's unfamiliar to you. And usually our association to being lightheaded isn't comfortable. So we sometimes feel a bit tense when these funny sensations arrive. And I want you to trust that all those sensations, all the stuff that you're going to initially feel is okay. It's safe to feel it, and it will pass. You'll transcend it. So the lightheadedness arrives and it clears. The tingles arrive. They don't necessarily go away, but you become used to it. And by tingles, I mean this incredible life force starts to move through your body, and you start to feel that energy in your body as tingles. Sometimes it feels a bit like almost like a pins and needles sensation in certain parts of your body or down your limbs, sometimes in your ears. Some people describe the feeling of almost having like ants walking on their arms. So you can feel the physicality of this modality in various ways. And I'm simply inviting you to allow it, to observe it, and to just keep breathing through it. The other thing worth mentioning is that initially, for that first period, which usually lasts about 10 to 15 minutes, it's going to feel like hard work. Okay. There are two layers that we are breathing through with breath work. The first layer it's the surface layer. It's where you are very aware of what's going on physically. And it's also the layer of resistance. So that is where it feels like hard work. You have to make the breath happen. I've just described a very strong breathing rhythm to you, and that's not easy to maintain initially, okay? That strong connected breath, especially if you've had a long day, it's going to almost feel counterintuitive. It's like, wow, this is too much hard work. Don't want to do this. And I'm simply going to ask you to breathe through your resistance. Notice the resistance, observe the resistance. There's no need to try and fix it or get rid of it. Don't resist the resistance. You want to simply surrender into it and relax into it. And by doing that, what's going to happen is you're going to move through it. At some point, you're going to drop through. And like I said, it's normally after about 10 to 15 minutes, you drop through that resistance and it feels almost like the breath suddenly starts to breathe you and it becomes effortless. Effortless. It's almost like you've suddenly been taken on a magic carpet ride and it just starts to take you on this beautiful, effortless journey. And that's usually what happens. So trust the process, especially during that initial period when you are still navigating through your resistance. Okay. The mind starts saying, oh my gosh, I can't do this for an hour and I'm lightheaded and I'm uncomfortable. And your body starts bringing up potential tension or anxiety. There's a myriad things that might surface during that resistant layer. And you just need to know that even though it feels a bit uncomfortable, you will transcend it. Do not stop breathing because it's like I said, it's counterintuitive. We want to stop breathing to not feel that way. But the magic is all waiting for you on the other side of that. So if you stop breathing or you just sort of give up on it and you go half-heartedly into this process by not breathing strongly enough, you're going to miss the magic. Push through your resistance. So if it feels like it's hard to breathe, breathe even harder. You really want to go for it, especially up front when you are moving through that physical layer, right? You keep going. Another sensation that you might experience, especially if you're quite new to breath work and you haven't done this many times, there's a particular sensation very common to breath work, and it even has a technical term. It's called tetany. Okay, and tetany is a tightening of certain muscles. You usually feel it as your forearms pulling a bit stiff. Sometimes you can feel your jaw pulling tight. And what then can happen is your fingers, following the stiffening of your forearms, your fingers can sometimes pull a bit tight. It looks almost like you're developing lobster claws, okay? Completely out of your control. All that is possible as well. The reason people sometimes get tetany is because of the change of the blood chemistry through the strong exhalation of the CO2 and obviously the inhalation of the oxygen. If your tetany leads to cramping, or if you get any cramping in general in your body to the point where it's really impacting your journey, I just want you to notice your breathing rhythm and make sure that your out breath is soft and relaxed. Sometimes people get tetany because they force the out breath too strongly. And that strong out breath, that strong release of CO2 creates that change in the blood chemistry that can aggravate cramping. Okay, so if you get cramping, relax your out breath. You can even relax your rhythm and breathe a bit slower just not at the expense of the connected breath. So you always want to maintain a strong connected rhythm without pausing between breaths, and always want to maintain a strong in-breath, but you can go faster or slower depending on what's happening in your journey. I always recommend initially to go quite strong, quite fast, and push so that you can get through your resistance a bit quicker. Okay, so when that resistance arrives, whatever it might be, whether it's lightheadedness, whether it's tetany, whether it's niggles in the body, whatever's there, it might even be some emotional resistance, a bit of tension or anxiety that arrives. If you don't quite know what this is doing or where it's going or what to expect, I want you to relax into the knowledge that you're safe, that it's a safe process, and it's okay to feel whatever's moving through you. Just give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to feel any physical discomfort, any emotional discomfort, knowing that it's safe. And whatever we're doing is actually healthy for the body, even though it might not always feel that way. Just breathe. Keep it strong, keep it connected. I will be guiding the process to encourage a strong breath, and then you'll drop through and the breath will just take you.